Welcome to my Frankenstein fever chart and analysis. Please enjoy the presentation. I will first present the quote and then a corresponding description of the chart analysis and comparison to past readings. The world was to him a secret which he desired to divine. Curiosity, earnest research to learn the hidden laws of nature, gladness akin to rapture, as they were unfolded to him, are among the earliest sensations he can remember. Chapter 2, page 22. My sympathy for the creation is unknown, based on the current state of the novel, but my sympathy for Victor is low because of his foolishness and carelessness when it comes to the creation of life. The labors of men of genius, however erroneously directed, scarcely ever fail in ultimately turning to the solid advantage of mankind. Chapter 3, page 34. I now feel more sympathy for Victor, as all of his work will not honor all of his desires. My feelings regarding the creation is unchanged. Learn from me, if not by my precepts, at least by my example, how dangerous is the acquirement of knowledge and how much happier that man is who believes his native town to be the world, than he who aspires to become greater than his nature will allow. Chapter 4, page 38. I now feel an increased sympathy for both the creation and Victor. Not only knowing what he is about to create feels like he knows what the future will behold, and he will not be ready for it. For this I had deprived myself of rest and health. I had desired it with an ardor that far exceeded moderation, but now that I had finished, the beauty of the dream vanished, and breathless horror and disgust filled my heart. Chapter 5, page 42. Sympathy for the creation is unchanged, but the sympathy for Victor is increased because he is distraught based on the result of his creation. He beheld those he loved spend vain sorrow upon the graves of William and Justine, the first hapless victims to his unhallowed arts. Chapter 8, page 73. After killing those citizens, the monster receives no sympathy from me. All of my sympathy goes towards Victor, as what he created murdered the people he loves. Indirectly, it is all of his fault. All men hate the wretched. How then must I be hated, who am miserable beyond all living things? Yet you, my Creator, detest and spurn me, a creature, to whom thou art bound by ties only dissoluble by the annihilation of one of us. Chapter 10, page 83. Sympathy for the creation has slightly increased because he realizes what he is doing. Victor's sympathy stays the same. When I looked around I saw and heard of none like me. Was I a monster? A blot upon the earth from which all men fled and whom all men disowned? Chapter 13, page 105. Victor's sympathy goes down because he is not giving the monster a chance. The creation has now realized the harm he has done, and the emotional grief that comes with it. Its sympathy goes up. From that moment he declared everlasting war against the species, and more than all, against Frankenstein who had formed him and sent him forth to this insupportable misery. Chapter 16, page 121. I feel no sympathy for Victor, as he brought this on himself with a foolish science experiment. The monster has no control over his anatomy, but he is aware of what he is doing. He gets half of my sympathy. I am alone and miserable, man will not associate with me, but one as deformed and horrible as myself would not deny herself to me. My companion must be of the same species and have the same defects. This being you must create. Chapter 16, page 129. Frankenstein is now satisfied with his presence, and now wants more. His sympathy goes down, while Victor's goes up because he now has to deal with the creation and his needs. You can blast my other passions, but revenge remains, revenge, henceforth dearer than light of food. I may die, but first you, my tyrant and tormentor, shall curse the sun that gazes on your misery. Chapter 20, page 153. The creation has now turned to anger Victor, and Victor has no escape. Victor goes up, creation stays the same. As he heard it, the whole truth rushed into his mind, his arms dropped, the motion of every muscle and fiber was suspended, he could feel the blood trickling in his veins and tingling in the extremities of his limbs. Chapter 23, page 177. Victor now feels what he is longing to feel, Relief. The sympathy down for Victor represents his foolishness by creating this in the first place. He has the consequences upon him now. All his speculations and hopes are as nothing, and like the archangel who aspired to omnipotence, he is chained in an eternal hell. Chapter 24, page 194. The creation has no way out of his life. His sympathy goes up, and Victor's stays the same. Seek happiness in tranquility and avoid ambition, even if it be only the apparently innocent one of distinguishing yourself in science and discoveries. Chapter 24, page 200. Victor's sympathy goes up for one final time because he now knows internally why he did this. The creation goes up for a final time because he also has no escape from the world Victor built for him. Thank you for listening, and your attention is appreciated. The characterization is revealed through the relationship between the creation and Victor. What a crazy story.